I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
All right. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 99 of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast. My name is Flo.
And as always, I'm Gabe. How are you?
It's like pristine quality again, and I hope it translates to the recording. It sounds good again.
I have no idea what happened. I haven't touched this mic in a week, and apparently it sounds good right now. We'll see if this lasts until we upload it on Monday. But
yeah, I'd love it if it sounds terrible in the recording. You sound great, dude. You sound absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
No, I don't know what's going on, but I told you like before we started recording, just don't move it. Let's see if it works. Yeah. How you doing?
Dude, stressed as always. But
we are recording this like in the prime week of like uni stress. Like
cramming one lecture after the other. But it's also kind of a weird day since we have a bit of a special announcement. You want to go ahead and give it to the people, the fans, the crowds, the diehard fans.
It sounds like it's something positive.
It might be for people who hate this.
That's very true. Who've been like binging this for 99 weeks, thinking, when the fuck am I gonna stop? Let's do it together. I mean, we had this discussion like it must have been 3 months ago.
Yeah,
it's been a while, and we talked about where this podcast was heading, and I can only speak for myself, but I certainly enjoy doing it a lot. But it does, it is maybe more work than people think. I'm not saying that it's like 24/7, but it takes up most of our weekends, and I still enjoy doing it. But we talked about this a couple of months ago, and I think we both had the same sort of idea, and we thought it would be a good idea to wrap it up at episode 100. I mean, it's kind of poetic, no?
Yeah, and if I hadn't been sick like 1 or 2 weeks ago, it would have been pretty much exactly the 2-year anniversary.
I think it still might be, dude.
Yeah,
I looked this up. The first ever episode of this podcast. This is perfect.
I think it was like the start of February 2020.
Yeah, but I think it was. Let's have a look. Here it is. Let me just quick look here. It was. It was February 18th, 2020.
Where are you looking this up, on YouTube or on
YouTube? Yeah,
because YouTube we uploaded those episodes a couple of weeks late,
man.
Because we started on Anchor or on and Spotify, and I think I looked this up. I think it was like.
It was the
4th?
The 10th.
Oh, it's the 10th. Okay.
Hold on a second.
It's pretty good.
So the episode 100 will drop on the 7th.
Oh, that's wow.
Pretty. Come on,
I like this. Yeah. I can live with that.
We've never been sick. We just knew we were going to postpone it for it to land right on February 7th. You know.
I knew exactly when to catch a cold.
Yes. You did a good job. Yeah, but that's right. Yeah, 2 years, 100 episodes. We're gonna go out with a bang. We have we've had a topic set up for episode 100.
For quite some time actually.
For a long time. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna be sad kind of when this is over. This just become, the norm.
Yeah,
what we do, and I've had a great time. But yeah, like you said, it's a bit of work, and something that we've kind of missed as well is we so rarely get to see older things now, because it's pretty much always when we get to see movies in between, I don't know, when we have stress with uni or just, I don't know, traveling or whatever we do with life. We try to watch something for the podcast, which is fun. There's a lot of great things that I think I never would have seen if it hadn't been for this podcast.
Yeah.
But there's also so many things that I've been meaning to watch for such a long time, and I don't get to watch as many things as I wanted to, or just, catch up on my film, education, such as classics like Citizen Kane, which I've had at home for I don't know how many months now and haven't gotten around to watching it.
Yeah, don't spoil the special. Like episode 100 is just going to be Citizen Kane talk.
God, I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we want to get. You're going to misinterpret what I'm about to say, but if we want to get like go get emotional now and talk about the journey, but if we like, and I'm not going to start crying, but we might do that in episode 100, even though episode 100 will be stacked. I don't know how much time we have for like sort of like
reminiscing.
Thank you. I was looking for the word and I couldn't find it. Yeah. I mean, so many people to thank. We will do that in episode 100 too. If you're still listening to this, that means a lot. I gotta say, like, a couple of like you told me yesterday that someone asked for merch. I loved it. And the next episode we're canceling the show. Buy your own shirt.
When I heard this, I was like, "Oh, that's great!" And I was like, "Is there time?"
Yeah, we got to order that quickly. Yeah, but another person like Leon, I got to shout him out once again. He nominated us for the Austrian Podcast Awards. I didn't even know those things existed.
Me neither.
Thank you so much for that. Even though now it might, by the time the award is out, we're not even out anymore.
We said that I just imagined them picking our name like, oh, well, they stopped like a week ago. Just give it to the runner-up.
I think so. I think that's the only reason why we won't win the award, yes.
Better stop now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been so many fucking episodes now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised that we did this so regularly. I had somebody come up like, dude, I'm impressed that you're still doing this weekly. And I think I'm the person who's most impressed by this, because I don't think there's anything I've done like for 2 years straight except for sit on the couch and eat chips.
Yeah. And you're just as good at doing this.
I've gotten a bit better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, I am proud of the work we did as well. I'm just kind of sad that I think within the first year, I don't think we missed an episode, maybe one. And now this year, maybe, I got sick like 3 times, and then we postponed an episode for like vacation reasons too, and then you got sick once. So unfortunately, mainly due to me, we missed a lot of episodes this year. But
it worked out in the end, as we saw.
It was all planned. It was all planned. Yeah, I forgot that I already told him that. Yeah. It was all a sham. But we have a couple of interesting things to discuss this week. We've been meaning to we went out of our way to go back to the cinema, go back into the danger zone.
One last time.
One last time, yes. It had been a while since I've been in the theater. I think it was my first time this year.
Was it? Didn't you see West Side Story this year?
Wasn't that? Oh, that was end of 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I watched that for the special, didn't I? For the 2021 special.
And then, did you talk about it then?
I briefly mentioned it.
Okay.
Maybe not. I don't
even remember.
Maybe I just saved it for the next regular episode because it wasn't going to make my list.
Sure.
But a couple of films that we saw this week. One together, one not together. But we know that the other person has seen it.
Yes.
And I don't know. Have you seen anything else?
I haven't really. I've watched Book of Boba Fett, but I don't think I'm up to date with that, and I'm not that into the show anymore.
Yeah. After bashing it last week.
Yeah. I think I watched one episode after that, and the new one is supposed to be amazing since there's a cameo about another character. But I don't know.
Do you know the cameo?
To talk about. I know the cameo. I was spoiled. Of course
so it is in an episode that is out yet, though?
It is. It's episode 5, I think. I mean, it's not that much of a spoiler since the episode is named after that character.
I haven't seen the show. I have no interest in the show, and I'm guessing it's The Mandalorian. You might not want to confirm or deny this, but that's my educated guess.
Maybe.
It's got no merit whatsoever.
The thing is, if you were going to choose a Star Wars show, I would not recommend Book of Boba Fett.
Does that even play in the same universe as Mandalorian?
Yeah. It's there's Boba Fett makes an appearance somewhere very shortly in the Mandalorian, and it kind of picks up from there and kind of shows it's just a spin of a side character.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't seen it, dude. I have not seen that show.
It's all right. If you're not really into Star Wars, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, since it is the last regular episode, I'm thinking is there anything I want to I've got maybe a couple of YouTube videos, but other than that, it's really just the 2 main films that I saw this week as well.
Yeah, I really also want to watches, yeah, because it is the last episode, and I think we owed it to bring some goodies, something that's
some goodies. I mean, we
something
can go
to talk about. I didn't want to go out with our last episode and just go like, yeah, this was kind of fun. This was a necessity pick. You know, that would have been a bad ending.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know how you feel about the two films that you saw this week. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, I mean, you're also the one editing this week, so I don't want to. And it is the stressful week, so I don't want to like throw out things for you to edit that's not really necessary. But I could talk about a couple of YouTube videos. I mean, it's all that. Let's listen to the audience. What are they saying? Just insert like a clap. No, I'll shout out one thing. James Austin Johnson. Oh, sorry. Hold on a second. Please, for the final time, Gabe, tell everyone how the show works.
First of all, welcome back to the very last episode of the Best Thing We've Seen podcast, at least of the regular episode.
Yes.
We'll be back with a bang and an outro next week, but
that's just for OnlyFans.
Oh. Well. Yeah, here we talk about the best thing that we've seen all week. Anything that's come out recently, anything from a movie to a TV show to maybe even a YouTube video. I'm going to start off with a couple of honorable mentions and then work our way to the best thing we've seen all week. And yeah, talk about it and talk about what our thoughts were.
Yeah.
So,
what was the name again, Gabe? What did I just say?
Something Austin Johnson.
It's not bad. James Austin Johnson.
Oh, okay, okay.
Did you want to say something else before that? I cut you off there.
I just want to say I thought about looking up who is going to start this week, and I was like, you know what? This is the last episode. Let's keep it classic. Let's go.
I knew it, and I purposely didn't tell you beforehand because I wanted you to say who starts this week.
Sorry, who is Austin Johnson?
James Austin Johnson. Oh, James Austin Johnson.
James
Austin Johnson. He's a new SNL member. And he's known for his Trump and I think also now Biden impression.
Okay.
Really excellent stuff. As someone who is a huge fan of good impersonations, I'm always a sucker for this kind of, like for the SNL skits and for like impersonators in general.
Sure.
And that guy, he was recently on Seth Meyers. I'll link it in the description. Towards the end, he does his Trump, and then what really sold it to me is he does an 80s Trump as well. And I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, I've watched a lot of Trump interviews, even like 10 years ago when he wasn't running for president or anything. I was kind of like fascinated by the guy, and I liked his Letterman interviews. Just because he was a fascinating figure, not because I was a fan or anything.
Yeah.
But that dude is an incredible, like James Austin Johnson. If you're a fan of impersonations, watch that video. And towards the end, he does a version of 80s Trump. It's just brilliant. It's just as good as his current Trump. And it's really like two completely different voices. But he like in the interview, I didn't know it was coming. He was just starting off with his regular Trump impression.
Sure.
And then he just threw in like a line and it's like, remember 80s Trump? And I was just like, I was rewinding instantly because it was perfect. It was incredible. So I'll link that in the description. It's a great video.
Was that when he had his show already? Like the You're Fired show, whatever it was called?
The Apprentice?
Or did that come later?
I don't think The Apprentice was in the 80s.
I have no idea. I've never watched it.
I haven't watched it either, but maybe. I would say 90s.
Okay.
Let's look it up. The Apprentice, Trump. I know it went for like, I don't know how many seasons. 15 seasons or something like that. 2004 was the first one. Yeah.
Wow.
There's so many iterations of it. I don't know if that was the first one. I don't think it was, but maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, enough Trump talk. But it's a good video. It's a good impersonation. James Austin Johnson. He's a talented dude, and he's a great Biden too.
Yeah, I got to check back with SNL. I like binged so many episodes, and then I just stopped completely.
Yeah,
I just got burned out by the humor.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Yeah. First of all, who is going to start? And I would guess that we have the same pick.
I don't know about that, but it's my turn to start.
Okay.
No, because I have I can sense what you mean now by you saying that. I have a feeling now, but it is my turn to start because last week it was Enigmatic Estates and Father Figures. And I don't know. So I'm going to take a guess now and say that we can now talk about our honorable,
Yes.
which is the new Bradley Cooper film. Is it Nightmare Alley? I don't know.
Yes.
Okay.
At least that's my honorable mention. Yeah.
That's my honorable too, yes.
I mean, we saw this together last night.
Yes.
And I just got to start off by saying this is our honorable mention, but what do you think of the movie in general? Did you even enjoy it, or did you think that there was a lot missing?
I was like, it's 2.5 hours. So Nightmare Alley, right? The new film by Guillermo del Toro, Pan's Labyrinth, Shape of Water, Hellboy, many other great things.
And not so great things.
And sure, and not so great. What's a not so great thing?
Oh, I hate Pacific Rim.
Thanks for that. That's another great pick. Thank you. Another great one.
What else did he do recently that it was like? I mean, Hellboy's quite hit or miss, I think, as well. It's just so over the top at times what he does.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
He walks the line between great movies and some very trashy movies, in my opinion, at least.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think he's done much else. I'm looking at it now. Like the early films I'm missing, like The Devil's Backbone, Kronos,
same.
Mimic.
I think I started with Pan's Labyrinth and just went on from there and didn't see anything before that. But I don't know, like Crimson
Hellboy.
Peak, for example. Okay, maybe Hellboy. But like Crimson Peak was all right, but not that great. Now that I rewatched it. Yeah, but what else did he do?
Everything. Basically, we're just missing Blade 2. That was also
Blade
before
2 was
Hellboy.
terrible.
Yeah. But other than that, like it was Pan's Labyrinth, then it was Hellboy 2, Pacific Rim, Crimson Peak, The Shape of Water, Nightmare Alley, and obviously this year Pinocchio.
Yeah, which I'm kind of looking forward to. The style looks quite cool.
Yeah, but that's I like the guy.
Sure.
And I like his films. And Nightmare Alley, 2.5-hour film starring Bradley Cooper. And I have to be completely honest, I had no idea that he was that it was his film. I thought he had like a side part in it. I had no idea that it was. He's basically in every scene. This is totally a Bradley Cooper film, other than the other film we're going to talk about today. I was about to set up the trailer, but it's not our pick, is it?
No, and I gotta say, I was also surprised by how late Cate Blanchett makes an appearance, because I think she's like the second one billed, and she was
Rooney Mara, maybe, I don't know,
maybe, but she had a small role as well. It really was Bradley Cooper's film, his story.
Yeah. I mean, I was very confused throughout the whole film. It's a mashup of so many different things, and some things worked for me, some things didn't. At parts, I drifted away because I was so tired yesterday. I don't know if you. So I had some questions at the end of it, which you explained to me. But yeah, I mean, so what is it about? You're the plot guy.
Oh, thank you. One last time, I'm the plot guy. Well, Nightmare Alley, it's set in, I think, the late 1930s to early 1940s. As a guy who, we see the opening of the film shows Bradley Cooper's character putting a dead body inside a house and burning it to the ground and driving away, and then finally ending up at a carnival, which he joins and meets the people there and gets taught the arts of magic, or I guess illusion, of like reading people's minds, of becoming a psychic, a mentalist, a medium, whatever.
Yeah.
And tries to start living with that and, turn his life around, or at least not in the sense of that he becomes a good person, but just, goes from rags to riches. So at least that's his plan.
Yeah.
And there he meets Rooney Mara's character and many others, Ron Perlman, Willem Dafoe, who all work at the carnival and teach him. Tony Collette, of course. And I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of those carnivals. They fucking creep me out. I guess that's the fucking point.
Yeah.
But I just hate seeing them for some reason. They make me so uncomfortable. It's also the same thing with, I think, season 2 or 3 of American Horror Story. That's as far as I watched.
Right.
There's also this like carnival. I fucking hate it for some reason. It makes my skin crawl.
There was one other film recently that had, maybe it was Greatest Showman that it reminded me of.
Yeah,
just
I had
the
to think of that as
right?
well later. Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons I wasn't a fan of Greatest Showman.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's such a long and convoluted film. It then drifts into like, I mean, he's obviously sort of then in, as you just said, he wants to like basically the main thing is make money.
Hmm.
and then falling in love with Rooney Mara's character, or Mara, I think, who I love. I mean, I think
She was
professed
great.
my love. Yeah, she is great. But so many confusing things, so many. It did feel long,
Yeah.
and it's only been like less than 24 hours since we've seen it. But I have a feeling I might have enjoyed it a bit more than you.
I did enjoy it.
Okay.
I thought it was a good movie. I just had some issues with it and didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I was really looking forward to this movie because it seemed like the kind of Guillermo del Toro movie that I'm into. I like his creepy stuff more than his action movies, and this seems to be exactly that. I thought there might be some like supernatural elements to the story.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really know anything about the plot, which there wasn't really.
Yeah.
It was more about him, trying to get money and getting very, cocky with what he thinks he can do, like thinking he can actually read people, maybe, or like and it's very much set into put into two parts, like where he goes to the carnival and what he does after. And yeah, like I said, it's a long movie. It takes a while for him to finally get where things get more interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Which I thought was too bad. But it's still entertaining, and I still, was in the edge of my seat at in some scenes where people challenge his gift, or yeah,
It's much better than, for example, The Illusionist.
Yeah.
And I found myself. I completely agree that I think the second part is much better.
Mm-hmm.
But I found myself like it's the same. I had the same thing with the film The Machinist, the Christian Bale one.
Oh yeah.
Where I was sitting. I watched The Machinist at home, but I was just like going like, that reminds me of that film, right? I went in Nightmare Alley. I went from like The Illusionist to The Prestige to Shutter Island to there were so many others that I forgot about them all now. But it's Motherless Brooklyn, because it's got that noir element to it too, very much so. So yeah, it was just to me, it's a weird mix of a film that has elements that really worked. I mean, you just talked about it being not very creepy, and it didn't have supernatural elements. Yes, but I have to say, there was one scene in particular that was completely out of a horror film, like
the one in the snow
creeped me out. Yeah.
To be very vague. Yeah,
right. That reminded me of The Shining. So that's yeah, and it's not like I'm not saying that I'm like discovering great things here. It's just like, for whatever reason, I had to think of many, many different films. But that scene was creepy as fuck to me.
Sure. Yeah. I guess all in all, a good movie. Just was an issue that I have with some of Guillermo del Toro's movie, especially like English movies, since I don't really speak Spanish, so I don't know how exactly the dialogue is written there. But sometimes the characters do sound a bit too cool. You know what I mean? They try they lay it on quite thick at times.
I mean, he had a writing partner on this, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose. I don't know how they divided up the work. But yeah, I gotta say, what I was so surprised by was how versatile like Bradley Cooper looked. At times I just didn't recognize him when he walked along the hall. I was like, is that the same character?
Oh my God. Dude, you're speaking out of my mouth. Is that a phrase? I had that written down.
It is now.
I had that written down.
Oh, really?
I had the same feeling. Like I was so sure that there were so many like fade outs and fade ins and wide shots of like, you don't quite know who you're looking at.
Right.
And I was like, it must have happened like 5 or 6 times. I was like, who's this character now?
Yeah.
And then it zoomed in, and then it was Bradley Cooper all along.
Right.
Happened 5 or 6 times or whatever. Completely agree. But I love Bradley Cooper.
He's a great actor.
He's
doing
so good.
many things, especially now that he also started directing.
Yeah.
He's still in so many things.
Yeah. He's just phenomenal. And I was so happy that it was his film. As I didn't realize it was like, I thought he was like one of 4,
Mm-hmm.
But it was really his film. And the writing partner was Kim Morgan, by the way. I want to shout her out too.
Sure.
She is not Spanish.
Doesn't sound like she is.
No. But yeah, I mean, just go through the cast really quickly, because we said many people, but there's also like Holt McCallany, podcast regular, makes an appearance, right? The guy from Mindhunter.
Yeah.
Tim Blake Nelson makes an appearance.
Yeah, like for a minute.
For a minute. Richard Jenkins.
Yeah.
From Shape of Water. He is still, works with Guillermo del Toro. David Strathairn from The Firm, the guy who's like Toni Collette's husband, I think, or I don't know what their relationship was. And you said it before, Rooney Mara, or Mara, Kate Blanchett, Bradley Cooper,
Willem Dafoe,
Ron Perlman, Willem Dafoe.
yeah.
Yes, just a stellar cast once again. And one other interesting fact, Nathan Johnson, who is Ryan Johnson's brother, composed it. Like he made he scored like Knives Out and a couple of Ryan's films, or maybe all of them. But he's now I think this is like his biggest film not directed by his brother.
Right.
So he's making moves as well. Yeah.
I gotta say, I did like the soundtrack. It made like this very creepy underlying tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, some shocking images. I mean, Guillermo del Toro doesn't really like shy away from violence or like very intense scenes. There's a lot of like mutilated scenes or like people being abused, like the geek at the carnival.
Yes. Oh,
some intense scenes.
Mary Steenburgen, you remember the mother at the table with her husband speaking about their dead son.
Yeah. Or just like the ear at the end. Like there's some very graphic violence in this.
Yes.
So, be aware of that. I mean, there's been graphic violence in pretty much all of his movies that are not PG rated, like Pacific Rim, but
right.
Like in I told you this in Crimson Peak and in what's it called? It's Pan's Labyrinth. We also got these scenes of people getting their faces caved in. It's like on that level of violence that you see.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's well done. It
done. It is very well done.
Yeah. And especially, I want to shout out the last scene too. That was a really not only well made scene, but just Cooper once again just shining. I thought.
Yeah,
I think great scene.
There's so many ways they could have wrapped up the story, and I like the way they did it. Yeah.
But just overall, like the story, like especially the story between him and Kate Blanchett, that felt a bit like I don't want to say predictable, but it felt like so many different storylines. But it's not supposed to be that, right? I think I don't. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, and it just went by so fast, but there's so much story in there, like how quickly it all developed. I think.
Yeah.
I wish maybe like half an hour less of the carnival and like half an hour more of that.
Yeah,
I think would have paid off. That's my opinion. Then again, I have no fucking idea of Guillermo del Toro is a trillion times more of a filmmaker than I am, because I'm none. And, he knows what he's doing with pacing, but that's just what I
You can critique it, though. That's what
we're
here to do. That's what we're here to do. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I actually really... In other weeks, it could have easily been a pick, but let's move on if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
To our pick of the week, which I can say, isn't it poetic once again that it is our pick of the week, which is a film, we teased it last week, it's on the cover, You know what it is. It is the new Paul Thomas Anderson film, Licorice Pizza.
Yes.
Why it's called that, I know why, but
I had to look it up as well.
Yeah. But it's just weird. It's a weird title, but I had a discussion afterwards with a friend, was like, it's a weird title, but it somehow fits perfectly.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Licorice Pizza, the new film starring Bradley Cooper. No. Starring Cooper, another different Cooper Hoffman, and Alana Haim, right?
Mm-hmm. Haim?
I think it's Haim.
Sure.
And we'll talk about both of them in a second, but it is both their first films.
Is it also for Alana Haim?
Yes, she's a famous musician.
You're right, yeah.
Which I didn't know until I did some research afterwards.
Yeah, apparently Paul Thomas Anderson did a music video for her. Right?
Exactly, yes. And he told her, like, I'm going to put you in a movie one day. And then he actually wrote the main part of his latest film for her. And Licorice Pizza is about once again, please you do it. You're so much better at this.
Well, this is a fucking hard one to summarize, to be honest, because it doesn't have as much of a clear plot as Nightmare Alley does. It's simply about a boy who meets a girl, like 15-year-old boy at his high school meets a girl who's in her 20s, but
25. Yeah, we got it. This is a 15-year-old guy meeting a 25-year-old girl. Yeah,
but just falling madly in love from like first sight and just not giving up on asking her out and trying to make this work. And they do become friends, but it's an unrequited love. And he just has an idea of the idea. He's a child actor trying to make money, become a somebody, I suppose, with his different business ideas and wacky opportunities that he's coming up with, and it's just their lives over, I don't know, months or years of being friends.
Right.
And him trying to be more.
Yes. Well, but it is, it's not a one-sided relationship, but she's definitely got a lot of affection for him.
Right. But,
for
there's
obvious
a big
reasons,
age gap.
For obvious reasons, she doesn't really want to, of course, doesn't want it to become romantic. But it's an interesting relationship in the sense of also like he is a very mature 15-year-old and she's, I don't want to say immature, but I mean, how do I say this politely? Right? But let's say an immature 25-year-old. Like,
sure.
And both of them really struggling and trying to find, well, he's not really, he's a cocky guy, but they're both trying to find their
thing,
their way in their life, their way in their lives.
Sure.
That's
sounds like
great
a soap
English.
opera.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, let's run a little clip for our pick of the week, Licorice Pizza.
So how'd you become such a hotshot actor?
I'm a showman. That's what I'm meant to do.
To the seat with the clearest view. Then she's hooked to the silver screen.
Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbra Streisand?
Barbra Streisand.
Sand.
Yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like
Barbra
beaches.
Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
You're not my director. Do you really want to see my boobs?
Can I touch them?
I'll see you tomorrow.
What do you think was in that trailer? What did we just
Some
listen to?
very copy strikeable music.
100%.
I would think. Because the soundtrack of this is great. Because opposed to Nightmare Alley, which relies heavily on a score, this is like a great soundtrack through and through. So many classic songs from 60s and 70s. I think this is like early 70s, right? When this is set?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Yes. Yeah, it's the Nixon time. Yeah. For sure. But you're absolutely right. I struggled. We had a copyright issue last week with the Tender Bar trailer. This is going to be a bitch. You're right. There must be like Life on Mars in there or something in the trailer.
Yeah,
That's going to be
like that.
David. I don't know how.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. David Bowie, if you're listening in heaven, I don't know.
I just want to say, I don't know if they have like Spotify in heaven.
They do. I hope, because it's literally like different artists are more like their rights are more like protected than others. And last week it was a bit of an issue. But anyway, Licorice Pizza. Let's talk about the actors now. Alana Haim. She's actually, interestingly enough, she's 30.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, sure.
30 playing a 25-year-old, looking like a 20-year-old, or at least in the film. I didn't know her age. Like, I knew that it was like about a relationship about a younger guy and an older girl, a woman. I didn't know how old she was supposed to be. And when she said 25, I was actually surprised. I thought she looked more like 21 or whatever. But she's actually 30. Now, she was in a band, Haim, and I gotta say, I want to, hold on. Let's talk about Cooper Hoffman first. I'm saying hold on to me. Like, my own thoughts are like, I'm sorry. Cooper Hoffman, the son of my favorite actor of all time, Philip Seymour Hoffman, looking like a spitting image of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah. I really think so. I really do think so. I mean, we never got to see him at that age. So.
I mean, I didn't even know that he was his son until I looked it up afterwards, and I didn't even think of that.
Really?
Yeah, I just went through on IMDb or whatever, and that's like one of the first things that I read. That he's his son.
He looks just like him.
How old is he?
He was like 16, 17 when they shot
nice.
that. Yeah, I think. But yeah, he plays a 15-year-old, and maybe he was during the shooting of this. I can't quite remember now. But to me, it was very, very beautiful to see not a reincarnation, but a a
prodigy.
A a kind of Philip Seymour Hoffman again on screen, and I think it's so beautiful that Paul Thomas Anderson, he's sort of synonymous with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He put him in a lot of films and they worked together so many times and they were great friends. And now to put his son in a film, in his first ever acting gig too. And he knocked it out of the park, I thought. He was really, really good.
Yeah.
But it was great to see him as someone who, I really miss Philip Seymour Hoffman. That was a real shock to me. And, I'm sad that he didn't get to make more films. But it's great to have his son now on screen, and I'm sure he's going to do more because I thought he was really, really good.
Yeah, I gotta say, also just the decision of putting unknown actors in the leading roles, I think was one of the best decisions in this movie because you just saw the characters, not the actors, because you had no prior association with them except for if you listened maybe to the band of Elena Heim.
Yes,
which I just loved. It just the whole feeling of the 70s was just so authentic. I mean. Speaking as a person who was alive back then.
Yeah.
It just felt like that time. So many other movies, they tell you that it's set there, like, I don't know, through title cards and through what they were, but this movie just brought back the vibe in a way. And just also like the picture quality and all of that. I mean, you told me that you saw this on film, right?
Yes.
Which must have been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helped that, to sort of like, transport you back to a different time for sure.
Right. So I love that because Nightmare Alley is set in the 1930s and 40s, but it looks like a movie that's set back then, and this looks more like somebody actually put up a character and filmed the people there.
Yeah,
which I loved. Even when more well-known actors made an appearance, such as you said, Bradley Cooper.
He's so good in this, by the way.
Which is also so interesting. I read some trivia, and if this is true, this is so fucking funny. Since in Nightmare Alley, the leading role was supposed to go to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
DiCaprio, just because he really wanted the role, he said no to a couple of other roles, including to the role in Licorice Pizza, which then went to Bradley Cooper. And then, negotiations fell through and he did neither, and Bradley Cooper did both.
Yeah, I knew the part with Nightmare Alley. That was definitely supposed to be DiCaprio. I didn't know that it was the same part in Licorice Pizza too.
Apparently.
Okay.
Maybe it's bullshit, but that's what
No.
I read.
Yeah.
I don't know who else he would have played, but it's also so funny since his dad is in this,
Right.
and I've never seen Leonardo DiCaprio's dad, and he looks different than I imagined.
Yeah, dude, there's so much to talk about here. The cast, like, I love the fact that you said it, like, the two main actors are very much unknown people. Well, not unknown.
Well,
Cooper Hoffman is unknown, but people know Alana Haim, but like not as actors.
Yeah.
And that definitely helped it. But I love the fact that he throws in so many cameos once again.
Yeah.
You got the A-list of Hollywood. You got Sean Penn, Bradley Cooper. You have Leonardo DiCaprio's dad.
The A-list.
Yeah.
I
Who
mean,
else
you
is
got
in this?
Tom Waits.
Tom Waits, yeah.
I mean, he's more of a musician than
Yes.
an actor, but he's had some great roles as well.
Yep. Who else was in this? So many.
Who's the guy who plays Jerry? The funniest dude in the whole movie.
The guy who plays Jerry.
The guy who owns the Japanese restaurant.
Oh, I don't know his. He's fantastic. I
he's in so many other things.
Can't remember his name. Yes,
but I gotta say, this movie. This is a movie where I laughed out loud multiple times in the theater. I actually had to laugh. And there's this scene of Jerry, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Just doing the stupidest shit ever of talking to his Japanese wife, who apparently doesn't speak English, but instead of speaking Japanese to her, makes the most racist impersonation of a Japanese person.
Yes.
Just assumes that she'll understand it. It was the funniest thing to me. And every time I just saw him on screen, every time he just entered the scene, I instinctively had to laugh because I knew what was about to come.
Yeah, that's a great moment. The actor's name is John Michael Higgins. Higgins, sorry. Everyone has seen his face. I had to look up the name as well. But there's a great scene, like towards the later half of the film, where they meet him again, and he just has a different wife. But he's got a type apparently. Yeah, Ben Safdie is in this.
Yeah, right.
Which he like one half of the Safdie brothers who directed Uncut Gems and Good Time. He also starred in Good Time, which is I love to see that guy act. He's really good. I think he might. Is he also in Uncut Gems?
Oh, probably maybe a cameo. I just know, Pieces of a Woman. And
yes.
What else was he in?
Pieces of a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, yes.
As like, I think the brother-in-law.
I can't remember their relationship now.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but he plays a mayor
Mm-hmm.
or a candidate for mayor. He reminded me so much of Armie Hammer, especially in his first ever scene in the film. I was like, that's just like Armie Hammer in The Social Network.
Right.
I don't know what it was. It's not necessarily the looks, but his way of talking and the way he. I don't know what it was. Completely reminded me of Armie Hammer.
Dude, I read some interesting trivia about this movie, which apparently the dude that he's based on, Joel Wax,
Yes.
is a real dude
Okay.
who ran for mayor. And the actual dude who did his promotional videos was Jonathan Demme, the later director of Silence of the Lambs. And he did this apparently also because this story or some of the hijinks that people get up to is based on a producer who's apparently friends with Paul Thomas Anderson. Also tried to be a waterbed salesman and stuff like that.
Right.
And he produced Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that and was friends with Jonathan Demme.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much of it is. I did not know that he was based on a real character, but he's not called Joel Wax.
I think the actual mayor might, or the candidate might also have been Joel Wax, actually.
Okay. Because like Sean Penn plays a real actor, right? Jack Holden.
I
Grace
think
Kelly.
he plays a fake actor based on a real actor.
Right, because the film they used, like they made references to, was also like changed the title or something. They changed the title by one word or something like that. Okay, no, Jack Holden is not a real actor.
He calls her Grace Kelly, who was a real actress.
Right.
But I just looked up. Joel Wax, if this is the same dude, was also the former president of the Los Angeles City Council. He's now 82.
Yeah, that sounds like he could be the same guy.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, so what did you think about the film overall?
I loved it.
Yeah?
It was more of an experience than like a plot-driven movie, which I really enjoyed. I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson has this quality of like making scenes so fucking real. He did this as well, I think, with The Master, and There Will Be Blood and stuff like that. I think he just makes scenes so authentic in a way, and I love that. And even though some scenes were so fucking silly, I just bought them, and I just, you feel like you were part of this. I love this, and I think if I had seen this in 2021, I'm sorry, this would have definitely made my top 10 list of the year.
Okay. That's, yeah. I mean, it's gonna, I mean,
Go ahead.
No, I lost my train of thought there, but I think Paul Thomas Anderson is really like one of the great American filmmakers, and I'm not saying that in terms of like he was born in America and he's American, but like in terms of making American films, stories that are set in America,
sure.
Like and sort of, I think Americano is that fits quite well with his filmography. I think. I mean, with The Master, with Phantom Thread, even though was he American? No, he was definitely British. That statement went out of the window fast. No, with The Master, Boogie Nights, of course. I love Boogie Nights.
I have not seen Punch Drunk Love, but that as well, I suppose.
Yes, There Will Be Blood too. That's in the States, right?
Yeah,
Must be. Yeah.
I kind of see what you mean, but I think he also has a bit more of an artsy streak than most mainstream directors these days. At least that's how I see it. But
for sure.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most original directors now.
Yes, you can tell if it's a Paul Thomas Anderson film, and that's I think that's quite remarkable because he has dealt with so many different subjects and time. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Periods.
Yes, thank you. But you can just tell it's one of his, and he's one of the best directors working today. I really think he is.
Yeah, definitely.
But I gotta say, you have that. You have the storyline, and it's basically narrowing it down to it is about a 15-year-old boy, boy/man, falling in love with a 25-year-old woman/girl.
Yeah.
Now, that is a very, very, like, especially in the times we're living in. Right? Imagine the shitstorm if it was the other way around. Now, hold on. I can hear you. I know what you're about to say. First of all, obviously, she's not indulging in this. She's the sensible one here. She's like, we can't really be romantic here. It's completely wrong here. But then again, it is about their relationship, and it is definitely not just one-sided, as I said before. She definitely, over the course of the film, develops feelings for him, whether or not they're like romantic or like, but it's not just friendship.
Sure.
And going into the film, I knew that premise, and I was like, I wonder how they're gonna, or how he is gonna deal with it, Paul Thomas Anderson, because obviously he's the writer too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was less of an issue. For me, it was never an issue because I like the fact that we're getting maybe politically incorrect things. I think, no, I agree with most things now and everything. You know, it's but every once in a while, it's good to have sort of like something that's not politically correct here.
Sure.
And to be edgy. So going into it, I was like, this is going to be edgy, but I was wondering how he's going to deal with it. And it was less of an issue than I anticipated, right? I think he handled the subject quite well. I think
because
otherwise,
sorry. He put a realistic spin on it and just didn't,
yes,
make it just for shock value.
Yes. But so I think he pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
And it means something that this film is so beloved and everyone's talking about it and people are seeing it, and that really hasn't been an issue as far as I can tell. So props to him for doing it and pulling it off. But I was still thinking the entire time, imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if a 15-year-old girl was falling in love with a 25-year-old guy, and just the fact itself that the guy is like reciprocating the interest even just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this film would be out. I don't think Paul Thomas Anderson would work anymore. You know what I mean? So
I wouldn't maybe go that far, because I think there are movies that do explore that also a bit. But I mean, it's a difficult subject because, if you go into like, sexual abuse or something like that, it's more the other way around.
It is 100%. And I hope it comes across as to what I'm trying to.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just pointing out.
It's more difficult to portray, definitely, and I'm sure it helps to see it like that, especially since it is the younger one pursuing this thing more than the older person.
100%, and that's such an important distinction.
Yeah,
it is so much. It is about the young guy sort of falling in love with the 25-year-old and sort of like trying to swoon her.
I think the movie could still have been made. I just think the vibe would have been totally different of what this movie would have been going for.
I just maybe the movie would have been made, but I just don't think that like in times like these, I don't think like a production company would go out to promote that film in the same way if it was the other way around.
Maybe.
I just can't see it happening. But even though, I mean, Red Rocket is a film, it was at the Biennale, it's a new Sean Baker film.
Mm-hmm.
That's about an older guy sort of like falling in love with I think she's still a minor in the film. So she's like 17, just about to turn 18. Or maybe she just turned 18. So that, and that film is out and gets the praises as well. So maybe I'm not saying that this film shouldn't exist, even if it was the other way around.
Sure.
I would still be interested into seeing how Paul Thomas Anderson deals with the subject. Right? And I'm not someone who's saying like he shouldn't work anymore. I love the guy. I love that he's edgy.
Sure.
I'm just in times like these, I'm just trying to figure out what's okay and what's not okay.
I mean, things are okay that we or decide is okay, and I think it always depends on how a subject is treated. I mean, you can make movies that are about, I don't know, a young woman and an older guy coming together, as long as you portray it in a not just shock value or maybe just, I don't know, whatever way.
Right.
I think it just still works. I mean, you can even do it for shock value. It's just not that interesting, I suppose.
Yeah. And this is not what this movie's going for at all.
No. It's just a great, I don't know if it's love story per se. It's just, a slice of life movie. I think I've said this so many times. But I actually talked to somebody today about, what movies are being made today,
Yeah.
What is even coming out? Like, what are like the subjects? Is there a lot of originality still there? I mean, the basic concepts are always there, like love and war and whatever for movies. I mean, those are like the most primal stories that there are. They've been there for pretty much ever.
Yeah.
But I think just, this movie and Paul Thomas Anderson in general, he just finds a new and interesting take to do with that is something that I haven't really seen before in that way. And I think that's why it's great.
I couldn't agree more. And especially with the statement of like, films like this don't get made.
There's like a handful of directors who actually make art and actually interesting movies. I mean, movies are an investment. It is a business. Of course, people invest in it and look what is the most pleasing, what can get the most money. But there are some foundations and some production companies that actually believe in the artists and they make great stuff. And people do love it and they do watch it. It's just more of a risk, but they do it. And it's an actually great movie, which I at least feels like with very little, if none, like studio interference, just like the director's or the writer's vision.
For sure. I mean, and that's also like now every film is either a superhero film or a romance. Well, a romance that would fall into it as well. But like in the 90s and in the 70s, 80s, 90s, basically every film was edgy and told like. I'm kind of like it's like a film from a different time, and I just wish there were so many more of that today. But then again, they feel more special because they're so rare these days.
I mean, I think there's still a lot of that out there. I mean, especially with the indie scene having grown so much in the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the 90s, you have a lot of those very basic love stories, like your what's her name?
Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan,
for example, Meg Ryan, or who am I thinking of? What's
Jennifer
her name?
Lopez.
No,
Kate Hudson.
Also, the one who's about to have her new movie. She's in Speed. She's in
Sandra Bullock.
Birdcage. Sandra Bullock, for example, like those kind of comedies and love stories.
Birdcage. He's not a birdcage. Bird Box.
Whatever. There was a lot of that as well back then. And I think if you keep your eyes out, there's still a lot of great and edgy and innovative stuff being made today.
But I think I'm going to revert my statement. It's not, these days, it's not superhero and romance. Romance is definitely, as you just said, like 90s and 80s. But nowadays, it's either a superhero film or a horror film.
Is it horror? I mean, I'm not that up to date with the horror.
I think so. There's very few just dramas coming out these days. I thought about this, and I think I'm right in saying this. Would you agree with this, or is that bullshit?
I don't know. If I think of the 90s, there's some good dramas. There are also so many over-the-top thrillers and whatever that were seem more like movies that were made to shock the audience than they were made to like just art in a way. I know it sounds cheesy, but you know what I mean?
You think it's more art now?
At times, I think maybe it's less quantity, but more quality.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, there's certainly great films out there. Maybe it's just like my sense of nostalgia. I feel like they rarely make films like they made them in the 70s, 80s, 90s these days. And Licorice Pizza falls into that category for me.
Maybe. I gotta say, I'm also just not a huge fan of the 90s as a movie decade. Then again, I did look at my list, and there are some great movies back then that I do really love. But I don't know. I think I maybe prefer now. And also, I love the 80s of movies, and some of the 70s was fucking great. Like
70s is fantastic.
Fucking greatest movies of all time.
Yeah, for sure. Then. Yeah, I wouldn't say Licorice Pizza. I think that's like a 70s, 80s film. And I think American Graffiti was a heavy influence on that film.
Yeah. Also a great movie.
Yeah. So anyway, weird ramble, but had to do it for the last episode. Cooper, not Cooper Hoffman, but Bradley Cooper, I thought was fantastic. That whole sequence is one of my favorites of the film.
I heard some very interesting trivia about that if true, makes the scene even better.
Yeah, please.
Which is apparently the actors didn't know that Bradley Cooper was going to be in this. Yes. And the very first take that is also in the movie is when they first see him and they were like, and he speaks to them, they're just quite taken aback, which is also because they didn't know which actor was going to approach him.
Yes. Bradley Cooper playing, I think, John Peters.
The real life
that's
producer.
A real guy. Yep.
Yeah.
Married, who dated Barbara Streisand at the time. That great scene of like, I think that is really Alana Haim driving.
Right, yeah.
She told a great. So after I saw the film, I watched some interviews and some trivia as well.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, what it boils down to really is Licorice Pizza. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would have made my top 10 of last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Wrath of Man. But no, it's bullshit, but obviously.
Yeah.
But for me, what it boils down to is that I love the supporting cast.
Yep.
And all of those scenes work really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
But the main actors are what's selling it to me. And that's Cooper Hoffman for the fact that he's Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. Yes. But also for the fact that he completely knocked it out of the park, I thought. He was great as this cocky 15-year-old guy who has everything figured out, apparently, and has no trouble talking to... Because he's also like a bit of a heavy set guy, but he's got the confidence of like the stud of the school. Chats up every girl he sees and swoons them all. I love that plane scene too, where the guy from Booksmart shows up first, and then the flight attendant who falls in love with him instantly.
That dude killed me. I was like, I know this face. I know this fucking face. Who is this dude?
Yeah. He's the eccentric friend in Booksmart. He's great.
Well, sorry, before we wrap this up, like, what was your favorite scene from that movie, or like one of your favorite scenes?
That's difficult. I remember like I had to laugh out loud a couple of times as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Do you have one right away?
I don't know if it's my favorite. I love the scenes with Jerry because they were just so stupid and over the top. But I think one of my favorite scenes was the one where he gets suddenly arrested and she comes running after him. I thought that scene was really fucking cool.
Yeah. Which comes into play later on as well. That's sort of like the running theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just about to say that because like what it boils down to me, it's Cooper Hoffman and it's Alana Haim. And I'm liking it for the reasons of like about the whole like lore of the film more than the film itself. That's my feelings on it now.
Sure.
'Cause watch some interviews of Alana Haim. She is a delight. In her interview on Fallon, where she talks about that scene, I think it was on Fallon, maybe on Kimmel, where she talks about that driving scene where she got told not to brake, not break the car, but not to break character. Whatever happens, just don't break character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spoil that. She tells a great anecdote, and she's really, really, a delight.
Nice.
So, I didn't love the film as much as I liked everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a sentence? I think so.
Sure.
Where would you rank it in terms of like Paul Thomas Anderson films?
Oh, that's hard. I haven't seen all of them. Like I said, Punch Drunk Love is missing. I think
Magnolia, right?
I haven't seen Magnolia either.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard. I gotta rewatch them. It's impossible to say. I don't even know which one would be my favorite. Either There Will Be Blood or The Master. Then maybe Licorice Pizza. But I did love Boogie Nights as well. Yeah. I would put it above Phantom Thread, though. I really enjoyed Phantom Thread for what it was. I loved the acting just because I'm a huge fan of Daniel Day-Lewis. But just from overall enjoyment, this was up there. From the vibe of all of the Paul Thomas Anderson movies, it reminded me the most of Boogie Nights.
Yeah, I mean that's mainly
also
because
the setting.
Yeah, right. The era it's set in.
But
right.
also like being serious and then also having just such over the top stupid characters, which you don't really have. And There Will Be Blood and The Master, which are way more serious.
Yeah, dude, I'm not making this up. But yeah, you taking the words out of my mouth again, because Licorice Pizza is by far his least serious or tense film. Like Paul Thomas Anderson, he always has very tense films.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza is very much like him, like going like, let's have a bit of fun here.
Right.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Last actor I'm looking at IMDb right now that I forgot to mention was Maya Rudolph, who's his wife.
I found that out like after I watched this movie and I was so surprised. But sure.
She got a little cameo in there. That was my favorite scene. The scene where he auditions for Maya Rudolph, and the one guy just goes like, Still got it, Gary. That's my favorite scene.
Nice.
Yeah. Right.
All right.
I think that's it.
It's weird. Yeah.
So much to talk about with this film. We could go on for ages, but
Yeah.
I feel like I've said nothing but everything.
I think what you can take away from this is watch this. You know.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be one of the best films of the year. I guess of last year, but you know.
Yeah. I think
depending way that.
Sure. I would agree. It's definitely one of the most wouldn't be an episode if I didn't need to think of a word for the third time now. One of the most acclaimed films you could see this year. For all the right reasons. Well acted, edgy script, beautifully shot, great music, and just Paul Thomas Anderson doing his thing. Really great director.
Nice.
Yes.
Dude, made it through an episode without losing my voice, but then again, there's always next week.
Incredible. Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm looking at the clock. 60 minutes.
That's probably okay.
I'm not going to put you through. I mean, it would have been the last ever round of Last Man Standing.
It's so hard to say no. One quick round. Let's do it very quickly.
Who's the biggest actor we can think of?
I think we've done the biggest, like Tom Hanks and I don't know, Cruise. We've done now.
We haven't done Cruise.
We haven't done Cruise.
Let's wrap it up with our religious animal, spirit animal.
Dude, if you could have associated any actor with religion, I hoped you wouldn't do it with Tom Cruise.
Well, because we talked about The Master, Philip Seymour Hoffman playing L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology. Let's do Tom Cruise.
You know, the equivalent of L. Ron Hubbard.
He's playing L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah.
He's playing L. Ron Hubbard.
For legal reasons.
For legal reasons,
he doesn't play L. Ron Hubbard.
Yes. Tom Cruise, last man standing. Let's do like 30-second timers because
30-second timers.
I don't want to
All right. 2 lives.
Take too much of your time. 2 lives. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna start the timer. I'm sorry.
And
there we go. Do you want to start?
Tom Cruise. So we got a theme here.
Magnolia. Start off with that. Yeah. Okay. I'm going with A Feel Good Man.
Yeah, that's one
which I
done.
Finally watched it for the first time.
Oh, what did you think?
I wasn't a huge fan.
Yes, that's unreal. How are you? Whatever. Let's not take too much of your time once again. How are you a fan of A Feel Good Man?
We'll talk about it some other time. I don't know. It just didn't grab me. Like the performance, just a bit too over the top for me.
You can't handle the greatness.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible.
Right. I don't know. Maybe I just knew too many of the iconic scenes. So you know, the Minority Report.
Oh, we always forget about that film.
Mm-hmm.
War of the Worlds.
Nice. I would have forgotten about that one. Yesterday evening after we went to the cinema, I went home and I watched Last Samurai. There you go.
Oh, for the second time.
For like the fifth or eighth time. I watched it so many times when I was a kid.
Real Cruise fan here.
Probably my favorite Cruise movie.
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, actually a good movie. Yeah.
Good movie. Still can't believe that exists, by the way.
Fair enough. No, that's a 90s movie.
Yeah.
Let me think. Oblivion.
Just looking up if that's a 90s film. 94.
Okay.
Oblivion. Okay, sure.
Haven't seen it, but still
it's okay. It's okay.
My thing. Pick, yeah.
Okay. Let's do Jack Reacher.
Is that I always thought like Jack Reacher was a spin-off from Mission Impossible. It's just that my imagination. Okay.
That's your imagination, yes.
Okay. Okay, Tom Cruise. What did Tom Cruise do? Everything and also nothing. Rain Man.
Tropic Thunder.
Jesus, okay. Tropic Thunder, what a fucking pick.
With Rain Man. I wasn't gonna mention it, but the Afterlife bloopers were a pick of mine once.
Yeah.
The new season is out. I haven't seen it, but the new bloopers are out.
Oh yeah?
I've watched them. They're great. Not as great as the last ones, but there's a great blooper involving Rain Man. That's probably the best blooper. So just had to throw that in. Because it's the last episode, you know. Afterlife bloopers are amazing.
Top Gun.
Oh, how could we forget about Top Gun? Let's go with, what's that film called? Valkyrie.
What's Valkyrie?
Operation Valkyrie.
Right, the Stauffenberg
Yeah.
assassination attempt. Right,
Yes.
right. Sorry, start my timer. Let me think. Ooh, now it's getting tougher. Always got to be a leading role with that dude.
Yeah, so many.
Except for like Tropic Thunder, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of stumped. Went too fast. Is that gonna be a life for me? I think it is. Yeah. There you go.
Eyes Wide Shut.
You fucker. You fucking okay. Fair enough.
Is that a quote from the film?
Probably. Probably behind the scenes. Well, I'll be. I mean, you're the cruise, dude.
CIA. I'm
That's not me.
giving you hints. I think it was CIA, FBI, CIA, CIA. Definitely.
You know,
CIA.
that's another life for me, dude. It's your thing. What's CIA?
American Made.
Right. Newer things, of course. I was trying to think of younger, of older things of his.
Right. Cocktail.
I haven't seen it. Fuck, Risky Business.
Color of Money.
Color of Money.
Yeah, I could have just.
Jerry Maguire.
I had a few left. Yes.
Yeah. Fuck.
I want my love
Edge
of
of
Cruise.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rock of Ages I actually thought of, but I couldn't think of the name. I just had his face in my mind. When you said Tropic Thunder, I immediately had to think of that. Austin Powers Scope member. That would have been a great pick. Collateral.
Yeah.
Shit round. But maybe if I had more time.
Yeah.
I'm just going to use that excuse.
For sure.
One last time.
For sure.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I mean, this is not the end. We'll be back next week with a hopefully interesting topic. It's a mammoth of a topic.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll talk about all of the semantics and everything next week again. But what I'll say for now is thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you have. Hope we enticed you to watch 2 good films. One better than the other, maybe. But I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah.
Stay safe out there. Thanks for your support. And we'll be back next week.
Right. Now for a classic yearbook quote, like what a crazy and wild ride it's been.
Yeah.
It's been a long time we've been doing this, and thank you so much for sticking around. So many of you have been checking in regularly. Means a whole lot to us. Thank you so much. As always, you can check us out on any podcast platforms if you want to. Check out one of the last thumbnails ever that Flo's going to do for us. You can check it out on YouTube, or you can see it on Twitter and Instagram at Best Thing Radio. It's been a blast. Consider dropping a like. Doesn't make much of a difference now, but can't hurt.
We appreciate a like.
We still appreciate it. You can still subscribe. If we come back with our, 5 years later episode, you'll be notified. It's been a blast. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, cook something good. I had a very good red lentil soup yesterday. Loved it. Very quick and easy with that. Thank you so much.
You'll give us the recipe next week.
And, we'll hear us on my new cooking podcast, maybe, if this goes on.
Best thing I've cooked.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. It's been a blast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.